3D resource creation. Resources Synchro Pro are used for tracking equipment, labor, costs, and materials by assigning them to tasks. Before we import 3D model to Synchro, we need to decide what type of resource it will be. It can be material resource, equipment resource, location resource, and labor resource, or human. Also, these resources belong to companies. Therefore, before importing and creating any resource, you need to establish a list of companies to assign these resources to them. The easiest way to describe how to create resource is if we consider an example. We have a crane model and it's split into 5 CAD files, called from 1 to 5, each containing several items. And taking this crane as an example, let's discuss 4 different types of resource creation. The first one is assign to this resource, don't build tree. It creates a single resource in which multiple objects are grouped when importing one or multiple 3D files. In the example of the crane, if you choose assign to this resource, don't build tree, all 5 files will be imported and assigned to one resource for the whole crane, which you could name tower crane. If you choose the second option, add resource underneath don't build a tree, it creates one resource for each file, to which any parts are combined within each 3D file name. Well, if you choose this option in the example of the crane, you'll import files 1 to 5 and will have 5 resources, named as CAD file names, under the resource heading tower crane, so that the crane is split into 5 resources, one to each file. The third option, assign to this resource build tree, creates multiple resources for each tree structure as exists in the corresponding 3D objects list when importing one 3D file. When importing multiple 3D files, the tree structure will be merged. If you choose this option, in the example of the crane, Synchro will import files 1 to 5 and create a resource for each of individual items for the crane as a list under the heading tower crane. And the last option, add resources underneath build tree, creates multiple resources with the same tree structure as exists in the corresponding 3D objects list when importing one or multiple 3D files. If you choose this option in the example of the crane, you will import files 1 to 5 and will have a resource for each of the individual items of the crane with the same tree structure as the CAD data under the resource heading tower crane. Generally speaking, use the first or second don't build tree option to group all objects with the CAD file as one. For example, an equipment model with all its subparts, wheels, bolts, etc. that doesn't need to be assembled in the animation will be assigned to a task as a whole. Use the third or fourth build tree option if you want to assign model objects separately to different tasks. And the bottom option, add resource underneath build tree, gives you the largest object tree of the most options for filtering and assigning resources to tasks.